Visit worldrolodex.com/hissecretobsession to learn more. He doesn't really want the perfect woman, he wants these 3 things from you instead. How much time do you spend trying to be the kind of woman you think men want? If you're like most women, it's a lot. You spend all this time making yourself look sexy and attractive. All this time presenting yourself as fun, interesting, worldly, and not needy in the slightest. You spend all this time showing him just how good you'd be for him. How amazing his future would be if he chose you as the woman by his side. And it doesn't work. It never works. Why? Why do you work so hard and the guy in your life just takes you for granted, if he even notices you at all? It's probably because he's immature, right? He can't recognize a good thing until it's gone. Or maybe, it's because you've been doing all the work for him. If he doesn't work for your relationship, he won't value it. Fact. What men value most are those things they have to work hard to get. Hand a man a college diploma, and he won't value it as much as if he'd had to put in years of study and effort to earn it. Hand a man the perfect girlfriend, and he won't value her as much as if he'd had to woo her for weeks just to get her to go out with him. This is why playing hard to get works. But, as you've probably already noticed, there's a big problem with playing hard to get. That strategy stops working once he's actually got you. Something happens when guys decide they've won you. It's almost like they think, game over. Their minds are already on their next challenge. What is going on? And how can you stop it from wrecking your relationship? It's not just you, all women experience this, that's why they ask for help. Many women give up on love. They never let themselves get too close to a man, for fear of scaring him off. But other women try a different approach. They get help. Relationship coach James Bauer is one of the people they turn to. He noticed that many clients were coming to him, complaining about guys who were blowing hot and cold. Everything would be going great, and then it was like something would change overnight. A guy who'd been warm, affectionate and interested would suddenly become distant. He'd no longer have any time for her. He wouldn't smile in greeting. He'd stop making eye contact. His kisses were brusque. Wanting to help his clients, James investigated. And what he discovered made sense of everything. He knew why these men were backing away. He knew what they needed and what they weren't getting. It didn't come down to anything wrong with these women. Rather, it all came down to something he called the hero instinct. Here's how. 3 ways you can invite a hero into your life, starting today. 1. Ask a guy for help. Ask him for advice on buying a new computer. Ask him to listen to that weird rattling sound that's started up in your car. Ask him to reach something on the top shelf. Then thank him warmly, with a great big smile of appreciation. No, that doesn't make you needy. It makes you a woman with space for a man in her life. 2. Take pleasure in male company. Guys love women who appreciate men for just being men. So what if his apartment is a shrine to sports? So what if he spends hours on his fantasy football team? So what if his idea of a clean shirt is the one with the fewest wrinkles? He's a guy. It's okay. You don't need him to be more like you, because you've got the feminine side of the gender equation covered. 3. Let him earn your respect. Superheroes love challenges. They don't want to be given a gold medal just for showing up. They don't want your love handed to them on a plate. They want to earn it. There's one thing they crave even more than a woman's eternal enduring love, a challenge. So give him opportunities to prove himself. You don't have to do the work of winning him over. Sit back, relax, and allow him the pleasure of winning your admiration. Keep learning. If that sounds like fun to you, click here to watch a video presentation about this relationship enhancement tool. It's something you can learn once, but then use it for the rest of your life. The strangest thing men desire. And how it can make him crazy for you. Have you ever felt attracted to a guy without knowing why? Maybe you've even had feelings for someone you'd rather not be attracted to. Why does this happen? How can you fall in love even though your conscious mind resists it? Experiences like these hint at the hidden world driving our feelings of romantic attraction. That hidden world is all about emotional reactions. Emotional reactions we don't consciously control. The truth is, falling in love is not something we choose to do. It's more like getting thirsty. You don't choose to get thirsty. You just notice it. And the stronger your thirst becomes, the harder it gets to ignore. What if I told you there is a kind of relationship, thirst, all men experience? A kind of thirst that's impossible for him to quench on his own. Would you like to know what he's so thirsty for? It's not just that men crave admiration. It's that he can't sustain that in love feeling without it. Nothing kills a man's attraction faster than a relationship where he doesn't feel needed. He wants to see himself as a provider. Someone who is admired because of his ability to provide. You see, if he doesn't feel needed, he feels like less of a man, emasculated. And that turns off his romantic drive. And the worst part? You can't just give him admiration. It only works if he believes he has earned your trust, admiration, and respect. But here's the good news. It's both fun and easy to let him earn your admiration once you know how to set him up for success. Just find ways to let him be your hero. Now, I should mention there is actually an art to doing that in a way that makes him crazy about you. But I've seen women wrap a man around her pinky using this simple concept. As a relationship coach, I have seen what works and what doesn't. But what it all comes down to is this. You need to trigger his hero instinct. It's not something only chemists can see, like blood levels of the bonding hormone, oxytocin. Rather, it's something you can see all around you once you learn to spot it. It's a pattern of interaction between men and women. Something relationship experts have always known to exist, but something they failed to recognize as the powerful trigger it is. A trigger that drives his thirst for companionship. How do you use this trigger to build passion and romance? Well, the easiest way to trigger his hero instinct is to translate your desires into a language that speaks to his natural drive to be a provider. His desire to serve, love, and protect. The desire to be someone's hero. The one easy idea you can use today. To unlock his undying devotion. Do you know that girlfriend of yours who has the perfect boyfriend? The guy with the gorgeous floppy hair, quirky smile, and big heart devoted entirely to one person and one person only, his girlfriend. You're so glad she found him, but honestly? You are so insanely jealous. It's hard to stop watching them. The way he's so attentive to her needs. The way they seem to share thoughts without speaking. The way he wraps his arms around her so tightly it's like they're one body. Watching them makes you ache. Because the guy at your side doesn't treat you like that. Women across the world make one universal mistake with men. It's not their fault. They're just following common wisdom. Common wisdom says that men only fall for exceptional women. Exceptional bodies, mainly. If you see a woman with a man trailing behind her like a puppy dog, common wisdom says you can be sure she has something you don't. It's such an obvious explanation and yet. It's dead wrong. That woman? She's no more exceptional than you. Whatever that means. The truth is this. Men fall for women because of how those women make them feel. When a man feels like a hero in a woman's eyes, he swears his undying loyalty to her. He can't help it. Most women don't have that effect on him. When he's around most women, he feels like a dumb guy. Like he's always doing something wrong. Like he needs a nanny to look after him. He can count on one hand the number of women who look up to him. Who really, really respect him. We tend to take those things for granted. We expect it. It numbs us to the actual miracle of having someone to rely on. But the more you appreciate him, the more he appreciates you, triggers his hero instinct. The attraction tripwire that awakens a man's deepest longing for love. Tripwire, a hidden trigger that sets off a series of explosive events. Deep within the heart of every man is an intense longing to be someone's hero. This longing has ancient origins. You see, the cause of this longing is written into the very fabric of his DNA. And there it lies, dormant until one day, the right trigger unleashes its power. I'd like to show you how to become that trigger, and how to awaken the full force of your man's bonding instinct. But first, a story. It's the story of human connection. Before we can care deeply about someone, we must know something about their life story. Because stories evoke empathy. Stories allow us to picture ourselves in someone else's shoes. Stories form the foundation of all human connections. They create the sensation of one shared life experience. It's strange, but true, that we can even find ourselves rooting for thieves and criminals so long as we see their story unfold. Movies like Ocean's 11 and The Italian Job illustrate this well. In the movie, Ocean's 11, actors George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon make for a cast of likable thieves. But beyond their good looks, we get pulled into the story. We discover what's driving Danny Ocean's motivation to rob a casino. A casino that just happens to be owned by his ex-wife's new lover. We can empathize with Danny Ocean's pain. And by the end of the movie, we are actually rooting for him to get away with it. To steal the money and disappear into the sunset with his ex-wife, Tess, by his side. Perhaps stranger still is the way we respond to fiction in the first place. A skilled novelist can have me on the edge of my seat, rooting for a person who doesn't even exist in real life. Literary critics may scoff, but I actually liked the Twilight series by Stephenie Meyer. I think my hand was actually trembling from adrenaline as the Volturi began to march across the field, intent on destroying Isabella's daughter. But wait, that's all make-believe. So how could it cause a physical reaction in my body? The answer, of course, is the power of the story. Since ancient times, stories have been the primary means by which humans communicated important information. Because of that, our minds are literally wired for story. Stories influence our emotions. They are at the heart of communication, allowing us to feel connected to each other. When I reach the end of my life, I know which people I will want by my side. It will be those who have witnessed my life story. The friendly, pretty nurse may be a wonderful person. But if she is a stranger to me, it doesn't matter what positive attributes she has. I will still feel alone. Because she does not know my story, and I do not know hers. Because it triggers his hero instinct. Here's the formula for triggering a man's hero instinct: story plus need equals activated hero instinct. Make a man feel like your hero, and you unleash his desire to commit to something more. He can't help it. He just starts to see you differently. Ready to put this idea to use? Great. Because I've recorded an online video to show you a set of triggers you can use to get explosive results with this one simple technique. Click here now to see for yourself. After watching this video, many women are surprised to learn a man can actually feel more deeply in love when he feels more deeply needed. That seems strange, doesn't it? And yet that is the reality for men. Many of us have a tendency to buy gifts of the sort we would like to receive ourselves. It can be like that with love. We try to love our partner the way we want to be loved. So you make him feel special. Yet he seems unaffected by that. You speak your own native love language to him. Apparently, he speaks another. But I'm here to tell you about one incredible, universal method you can use to grab his attention by triggering his hero instinct. Click here now to discover an unfair advantage that works with all men, in every phase of life. Help him finally see you as the one. Visit worldrolodex.com/hissecretobsession to learn more.